Kathy, 6 years ago, your life changed dramatically. Tell us what you knew about keeping a household budget and what you knew about household finances when that event occurred.
Not much. I opened the mail and I put the bills in a pile, and aside from that, I knew that things were tight and we couldn't buy a lot of extra things, but I didn't know what those dollars were. I didn't know what the amounts were. If I needed something, I would go charge it for my children. Not much.
So, how did you adjust from that event, the event of losing your husband?
My father-in-law tried to introduce me to Quicken. At the time that he introduced that to me, I still wasn't quite on earth, as I'd like to say. It was still too close to the loss for me to comprehend anything like that and trying to absorb that. So I just kind of, within a few months, went right back to my old ways of opening the mail every once in a while and writing a check when I thought to remember to write a check. I had a neighbor calling me saying, "Did you open your mail? Did you pay your bills?" I just couldn't quite focus long enough to get those things taken care of.
So what were some of the things that happened, some of the negatives that happened as a result of you being, one, inexperienced, and two, being in the midst of this sort of emotional upheaval?
I had quite a few late, basic, like your consumer's power. I would pay those things late. I knew I always had to get my cars and my house paid on time. Those are priorities for me. But anything besides that, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I'll get to that later. And I also started charging a lot of things, so I just didn't have to worry about, like, do I have $20 to pay for this, or can you just pay for this way? So I didn't necessarily accrue debt, because when the bill would come, I would just write a check for it. But I didn't know if I had the means to do that or not.
So you were really flying blind for a while.
Absolutely.
And were your expenditures and your income at that point, or the money, the resources you had at your disposal, roughly in parity, or were you spending too much?
Honestly, I have no idea, and I know that sounds terrible, but I didn't know. I was living on Social Security, am living on Social Security. I had a small life insurance that my insurance agent helped me put into a money market, I think. And it sat for over a year, and at the time we had 4 vehicles, so it was my priority to get those vehicles either traded in for something else because they were old, or sold, and try to keep my girls as normal, whatever that is, as I could. So I don't know what my income versus my expenses was. I was just trying to survive.
How about family members? Were they able to help you at all with any of this?
Like I said, my father-in-law did spend some time with me trying to introduce Quicken, and that did not work. And I had a sister-in-law come over about 7 months into my new journey and help me sit and file things and try to get some sort of organization to everything. But other than that, it's just been me. I do have a financial planner. I had one then that my brother introduced me to, but I didn't like the way things were going with that. So I switched, and I now have a new financial planner that's trying to educate me.
So your financial planner, is your financial planner talking to you about budget matters, or about investments, or about long-term savings? What are you talking about with your financial planner?
Mostly investments, college education, things like that. And my financial planner has actually met with my coach from Levanto, and they are working together to help me maintain my budget. And he is now investing, I guess, in things that need to be invested in for my benefit, as well as Levanto helping me keep in check and making me accountable for that budget.
So when you first became aware of Levanto, how did it strike you in terms of an idea of going to somebody else and sharing your personal financial information with them?
As far as sharing my personal financial information, it's very, I was apprehensive. I was a little anxious because as I said, I only shared with 1 or 2 family members. I didn't even want people to know what I had or didn't have, or that I was having late fees. So to take your shoebox of bills and whatever you have into someone strange and say, here it is, it's a little apprehensive. I didn't want to do it, but I did. And I like the idea, before I went, someone else to take care of all of this for me. I love that idea with my life and the way it is with my children. and my lack of ability to focus still, I think it's a phenomenal idea. Sharing those things took me a little longer.
What was the experience like the first time going in there?
Very good. They were warm. They're down to earth. They made me feel comfortable. They did not judge me. They were very professional.
Weren't you worried that somehow something might go wrong, a bill might not get paid, the money might be misplaced, or worse?
Yes, you have all of those anxieties, but as you listen to them and they play a demonstration for you, you can sit and you can watch how it worked for other clients. They share this demonstration and they talk to you, and they follow up on every question that you have without hesitation. And it was comforting to me enough to where I just kind of slid my shoebox over and said, thank you.
So you felt reassured?
Yes, I did.
And how has that gone since they set up this account for you? You discussed with them what you wanted to spend?
Yes, and they helped me adapt some of those things. You know, if I was spending too much on groceries and I just didn't have it in my budget, then yes, okay, we need to have peanut butter tonight. And that's okay. Everybody loves me, especially children. They love having peanut butter for dinner. So that all works. But they work with you on those things, and they're almost on call. If I have a question about something, I have someone that needs new soccer cleats. Can I afford to go get these this month, or do I have to wait another month? And they're right there for you all the time. They're wonderful. It's been a phenomenal experience.
So were there any pleasant surprises and unpleasant surprises about what you could and couldn't spend once you realized what your resources were and what you were spending?
Yes, I was spending too much.
You found that out?
Yes. So I know that I need to keep myself in check, and I'm trying to find ways to do that for myself. I have a little 3x5 card that I keep in my purse, and I kind of check negatively. If I start with $100 and I spend something, then once I get to that zero balance, I'm done until the next time I get to pay myself.
So were there categories that you decided that you were spending too much in, that you decided to spend less in?
Yes.
Okay. And now that you've gone through that, do you feel deprived in some way?
No.
Was that surprising to you?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that process.
I thought if I couldn't spend so much in certain areas that I wouldn't be able to entertain or go out or buy the right foods or whatnot, but you can. It's just a little more of research that's involved, or planning your time a little better. And just the fact that I have somebody on my side, in my corner, on my team with me now to share these things with and to bounce ideas off of. Losing my husband, that's one of the hardest things for me, that any major decision, I'm just looking at myself in the mirror. It's really hard to get a different point of view, and to have Levanto helping me, looking back at the mirror with me, it's wonderful. So the changes are sometimes challenging, but they're right there with you, encouraging you and guiding you along.
How about savings? Had you had any long-term plans for savings or putting aside money for education or retirement or anything like that?
Before my husband died, no. After he died, that second financial planner did help me set up some things, so my girls all have 529s, and there's a little bit of that there, yes.
Talk a little bit about your girls going to college, how you're managing with the process of putting the first of 3 children through college, I presume, and what you expect will be 3 children going through college.
I need to get a job.
Okay, but that's not all, right?
Right. You need to, again, cut back on certain things and start a small savings plan with those cutbacks. And it's still like I'm still learning exactly where this money is going, and Levanto is helping with that. But if I cut back $20 a week on groceries, then that $20 can go into a little savings account for college spending and whatnot.
Right. So your first daughter is in college now.
Correct.
And how is it working with her finances?
So far, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's doing well. We were able to figure it out. So freshman year should be okay. And then Levanto sets up 12 months in advance, and my financial planner kind of steps in there, and the 3 of us work together, and hopefully we can have the sophomore year taken care of as well.
So is she on a budget?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
And how's that being managed?
Actually, very well.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing extremely well. She has a little bit of money in a checking account, and she knows that she has limitations, and she'll actually put things back because she knows she has to pay for her college. So she's hopefully the girls are in the right spot with all of that.
So now that you've developed this discipline, and it sounds like you've learned a lot, and you've actually been forced to figure out a few things that you didn't know, would you consider dropping Levanto or just not being involved with it? Why? Why would you want to continue with it now?
They give me peace of mind. They've helped me change my life. They're a huge support system in the whole financial aspect for me. My financial planner is nice, but he doesn't have that one-on-one, day-to-day contact with me with my budget. And having Levanto in my back pocket or on my speed dial is very reassuring, and it's a small price to pay for all of that peace of mind that I get and the little more free time that I have to spend with my kids.